So I recently decided to start doing collective readings again because I noticed myself consuming so much content online that is so negative. And to be fair, there is so much of it because so many negative things are happening. There are so many things happening in our country and our world that go against logic, reason, compassion, and empathy for other human beings. And so I wanted to add a voice of compassion to the mix, to the messages that we're hearing, and rather than present the problem, also try to present a solution for those of us who are interested in being part of the solution. The point of these readings is not simply to point out the problem. I think we know what the problem is. Rather than stand around and admire the problem, many of us feel helpless, we feel directionless, we feel like there are not others out there who share our concerns. And so my hope is that when you watch these videos, and I'm making a commitment to try to do these at least once a week, when you watch these videos, I hope that you walk away from them with some sense of hope, but also a direction in which you can go, so that you feel like you are contributing to the overall net positive solution rather than just simply consuming outrage. So the first question we're going to ask today is, what are the external influences impacting us right now? And within that, those external influences, what is working for us and what is not working for us? The deck that I'm going to be reading from for the external influences is the Occult Tarot. I have gotten some really great readings from this one, especially when I ask questions about the evil empire. It seems to be exceptionally good at picking up the nefarious intentions of powerful people who lack empathy. So first we are asking externally, what is working for us and what is working against us? So first thing, what is working for us? This is super interesting. Okay, so we have all reversed cards. However, when we take these in totality, we have a reversed Seven of Cups, we have a reversed Hermit, and then a reversed Sun. So the reverse Seven of Cups, normally the Seven of Cups would be a card of lots of choices, but also some of those choices being illusions. We collectively are doing a great job at identifying what are illusions, right? What is the false truth? What are we being fed that is a false narrative? What is in front of us as options that we know doesn't work for us? We're doing a very good job collectively, at least those of us who are awake or maybe woke, right? We're doing a good job of discerning truth from fiction or truth from illusion. We're also, the Hermit being a card of looking within, but also going it alone and maybe walking your own path. We're also doing a good job of trying to organize and being together and forming community. One of the things that we are doing a good job of is also recognizing some of the ways in which we are alike. or many of the ways in which we are alike. We are seeing others, regardless of where they're from, as like us because we're all the same color on the inside, right? And then the sun reversed normally would be kind of a portentous card because the sun upright is that light shining on us. It is vitality and health and all of these great, really positive things. But reversed, we might think it is the opposite of that. However, we're doing a good job of operating in the dark. Think about it. Without the sun, we are in the dark, but we haven't lost hope. And what this tells me is that there is this undercurrent of understanding that things are not right, and we can tell which things are not right. We're getting together, we're forming community, we are supporting each other, even if it's in small ways. And then we know that things are dark and we haven't given up yet. That's the thing, is we may not be able to see everything because the sun isn't shining necessarily, or it doesn't seem like it is. But we still can see, and we're operating well in this situation. So let's take a look at what's not working for us externally. Okay, so we have 9 of Swords reversed, we have 7 of Wands reversed, and the Emperor. Emperor is authority figures and institutions. This is the government, the what have you, right? We have this situation where normal anxieties, depression, these would be things where we would normally experience some frustrations and anxious thoughts. We're not able to, these two things together, there's sort of this like anxious confrontation with the government. And this is not working for us. Duh, right? We could all look at this and say, well, yeah, duh, this anxious confrontation with the government is not working. The government is adversarial, if you will, here. And they have stirred this confrontational paradigm in which, yes, we feel frustrated and anxious, but we are unable to manage the anxiety that is causing. And let's go back to here as far as what we're seeing and how we are able to tell things we're being told are lies, right? We know that official messaging is being controlled, and we know that the media has caved, and we know that it's no longer independent. So we can tell what the illusions are. We're not managing the anxiety that comes from that, and we understand that the government is adversarial to us right now. Has it always been? Not necessarily. Will it continue to be? We'll look a little bit deeper into that. Now let's take a look at, I'm going to ask the question of, give us some guidance, right? Tell us which way to go. What can we do? Or more importantly, let's actually ask, what do we need? That's a better question. So as far as it concerns our external influences, what's working for us? What will keep it working for us? What will make it work better for us, even better for us? Or how can we take it to the next step? Let's start with it. It came up reversed, so let's take it there first. Let's go with that. Okay, so reverse, this card talks about addiction. And I want, rather than say we need to have addictions, what I want to point out here is that there is certainly, because this is dealing with information, community, and connections, I really need to point out that it is critical that we manage the addiction to information, the addiction to the message, and the addiction to the outrage, the doom scrolling. That is what needs to be managed. Stay away from the places that continue to manufacture outrage. Yes, be informed, but there is a delicate balance between being informed and consuming outrage because you're not doing anything else. It is super easy to sit there and open your phone and open your social media app of choice, and then an hour later look up and notice that you've been sitting there just scrolling and consuming and scrolling and consuming, and you now feel terrible. Even if you can tell that the information is not always straightforward and true, where are those addictions, right? What are the things that you're doing that are actually preventing you from moving forward? Because the addiction is the way, right? The obstacle is the way. So moving through this, if you can figure out what it is that is stopping you from taking more action, right? What is it that is keeping you in place in certain areas of your life? Identify those tethers, those emotional tethers or psychological tethers that are keeping you stuck. Cut them, whether physically, spiritually, or symbolically. Cut those cords and move forward. That's the answer. For externally, how do we keep going? How do we move through it? How do we keep things working for us? Let's ask the question externally. What is working against us? So we know that. How do we beat it? How do we deal with this anxiety over governmental federal overreach? How do we deal with the way it makes us feel? And how do we deal with almost like the paralysis that this has caused? Compass. Interesting. So compasses are a guide, right? They tell us which direction to go. They point in a particular direction, telling us where we're heading. What you let guide you becomes your higher power, is basically what this card is saying. So are you letting the government be your higher power in a way? By letting it control the narrative, but also by letting it have that space inside your head. Because if you focus on the relationship you don't have, or the money you don't have, or how bad the world is around you, that focus is what becomes your guide. It's where your compass points. What you focus on is where your compass points. So focusing on this government overreach and this federal overreach that's causing this extreme anxiety inside your head is giving permission to this and them to live inside your head rent-free. Shut the door. It doesn't mean don't pay attention. It certainly does not mean don't be engaged, and it certainly doesn't mean don't be informed, but choose not to give it that space. And I know that's easier said than done. But what you devote your time and attention and energy to becomes your reality, and it becomes what you head for. Disconnect. Again, the addiction. And these two things, it's almost like it's telling us there is this addiction to this outrage and this consumption of information. And in continuing to engage in it, we continue to give this power. What if we said no? What if we all collectively said, you know what? No. It doesn't mean don't protest, and it doesn't mean don't speak up. We all need to do those things. Those are our freedoms. They're constitutionally guaranteed to us. But we need to do so in ways that we don't feed this narrative. We take back power and we decide what lives inside our mind. We decide where our energy points. We can put this energy into anything we want. So what if instead of that hour that we spent consuming that information and outrage online, we put that hour into creating art, into calling people that we love, into connecting with people in our community? Our compass needs to point a different direction. Okay, let's move on and let's look at internally. So the main deck I'm going to be reading from for internal influences is Fifth Spirit Tarot. Internally, what is working for us and what is working against us? This one is all about us. This isn't about those external influences. This is everything we can control. Everything here are things that we have power over. So here's what's working for us internally. We have the Three of Pentacles, which is a collaborative willingness to work, to build, to grow, to learn. We have the Knight of Wands, which is inspiration. It is this impulse to do and to grow and learn. And again, it's sort of just this inspirational, creative element and force. And then we have the King of Cups, which is this just deep well of compassion. Between all of this internally, what we're doing is we're seeing that what's working for us is we know we need to be collaborative and come together. We have all this inspiration. We have this deep well of compassion. All of this together is saying, internally, we are doing a great job of knowing that people need our help and that people need support and that we need to be there for others around us and that we recognize that things that are happening are not okay. It's not normal. People are hurting. People are being hurt. People are being disappeared. People are being kidnapped off of the streets. People are being targeted. They are being ostracized and they're being marginalized. And we know that. We recognize that inside of us. We are so inspired and we are so compassionate and empathetic. And we have to keep doing this. So this is what we're doing right. This is what's working for us, is this. And it's almost like that Knight of Wands knows we have to do something, right? There's this urge inside of us to do something, to be involved, to get engaged. Okay, so now let's look at what's working against us. Again, this is internal, not external. Okay, so we have Page of Wands, Two of Wands, and Eight of Swords. Page of Wands is saying, hey, lots of ideas, right? Like bright ideas, shiny keys, right? Lots of bright ideas. The Two of Wands is sort of that like, okay, we have to plant seeds. There's choices. We have to choose which seeds to plant. And then the Eight of Swords is sort of that like, hey, we've kind of created this prison around ourselves because there is so many ideas out there. And which ones do we pick? Which ones do we plant? And then paralysis, right? This is that quintessential, I am paralyzed by everything available to me and I don't know how to act. I see all of these great things out there and I want to do all of them. I know that I can't possibly, I have to choose, I have to pick which ones to do. And when I see all of those choices, I'm overwhelmed and I do none of them. This is that paralysis by analysis. So we know we have to act. We are so into it. We want to be part of the solution. We know that we need to help others around us and we feel so deeply, yet we see all of the options available to us and we do none of them because we can't choose. We're paralyzed. All right, so now let's ask, what do we need? So we know internally what's working for us. How do we keep it working for us? Or how do we move it to the next step? How do we give it more momentum? How do we make it grow? How do we make it positive? What do we do with it? What do we do with what we know is working for us? So angelic realms, team effort, charity, validation, patience. This is valid, right? It's saying you are supported, and not just that, but like you're divinely supported. The divine, God, spirit, universe, whatever you call it, knows that this is correct. Having compassion for other people is correct. Every single religious text, if you are a participant in an organized religion, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, it doesn't really matter. Every single organized religious path teaches compassion, right? Teaches compassion for other people. People who don't have compassion for other people are wrong. There's something wrong with them. All societies across the world knew that those people in their communities that didn't have compassion and empathy for other people were wrong, and they were ostracized. We've lost the ability to do that in modern society, but they would never have been included if we went back thousands of years. We know that this is right? Validate the fact that your compassion and empathy is correct. Be patient. This right here, you're on the right path. You're in the right place. It's obvious because it's telling you this is what's working for you, that team effort. And also because this is mentioning that like angelic realms, right? And we talk about team effort, understand that you have an entire spiritual team, regardless of what your beliefs are. Whoever or whatever you believe is there. Even if you believe it's nothing, you have a team surrounding you. Whether it is the universal energy force that you can use to manifest great and positive things happening, or it is God or gods or goddesses or angels or spirits or demons, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you believe in, they are there for you. You have this team. Keep going. Now let's ask the question, those internal factors that are not working for us, right? That paralysis analysis. What do we need? What do we need to stop being paralyzed? What do we need to do to step out of that circle of swords we've placed around ourselves? What do we need to do to break down the prison that we've built around our own selves, our minds, our lives, our energy, that's keeping us stuck, that's keeping us from acting, that's keeping us from turning thought and compassion and empathy into action? We have scales of karma, cycle of disharmony, creating new traditions, and unfortunate events. So obviously this is disharmony. We know that. We can see that this is, and again, cycle. And cycle is a really great word to apply to this because it's like, I know I need to do something, but what do I do? Oh, look, here's another new idea that I just scrolled and I saw somebody else doing. How do I make it work with all the other ideas I want to do? I do nothing, right? So it becomes a cycle. Creating new traditions. So forget about all the great ideas you're seeing other people do. Sit in silence and ask yourself, these unfortunate events, right? You're seeing them, you're seeing the videos, you're seeing people streaming what others are doing, right? You're seeing these videos of overreach, of really bad, terrible events happening in the world, okay? You know it's there. Sit quietly, okay? Think about what you have seen. Obviously, take care of your mental health here. Think about what you've seen and just be quiet and listen and perceive what comes to you. Ask your spiritual team, whoever they may be, for one answer, one direction, one impulse, one nudge. Ask for it. Where do you need to head? What is that new tradition? What's the new path? Forget about the ones that you're seeing. Forget about all the shiny keys and the great ideas because those are other people's great ideas. And forget about choosing how many of those great ideas to do, and forget about being frozen and stuck for a second. What is Spirit asking you to do? What are you being guided towards? If there is one thing that you feel an inclination toward that is within your means, perhaps you don't have money to donate, but you have time and you can show up and help. Perhaps you are not physically able to show up and help, but you have money, or you can write, or you can create art. Whatever it is that you feel inclined to do, put it out there. Call those people, show up, give hugs, shake hands, donate. Whatever it is that you are physically capable of doing right now, physically, emotionally, and psychologically, and spiritually, do that thing. Create new traditions. You don't have to keep doing what you've been doing. Obviously, what you've been doing is nothing. You're stuck. Create a new path, create a new tradition, and let that tradition be yours. Other people are doing really great things too. This isn't saying that they're doing bad things, and it doesn't mean that what they're doing isn't helping, because what they're doing is helping, right? A million snowflakes together creates a blizzard, doesn't it? If everybody creates that new tradition, all of that positive energy and all of that power and forward momentum pushes back against the small few people in that hateful minority. There are not that many people who believe in hate. There aren't, I promise you. Their voices are just very loud. Your tradition needs to drown them out. If millions of people all create a new tradition and create a new cycle of harmony, it drowns out the hate. All right, so if you liked this reading, I encourage you to subscribe. I'm going to post links to my coffee if you want to donate. If you're interested in diving deeper into readings for yourself, please contact me, please follow, please share. If this is a message that you feel somebody else would benefit from hearing right now, please share as widely as possible. Thank you.